The richest companies don't chase opportunities. They enable other people to chase them. Amazon doesn't compete with sellers, it arms them. Shopify doesn't build stores, it empowers builders. The pattern is clear. Fortunes go to those who sell the Levi's, not pan for the gold. Are you building businesses, or are you building an empire enabling everyone else's business? Your competition is fighting over end customers in the saturated markets, while missing the vastly larger opportunity to serve all the firefighters. Research on business longevity shows that platforms and tools business that survive market transitions at 6 times higher rates than direct market participants, generating higher lifetime revenues. How many competitors could become your customers if you stopped competing and started equipping? The direct competition trap creates businesses that live or die with market volatility, lack defensible moats, and remain perpetually vulnerable to distribution from better funded competitors. Companies chasing gold instead of selling the tools and the experience have higher sensitivity to market downturns and greater susceptibility to competitive displacement. Every moment you spend fighting for a piece of the pie rather than selling the pie plate is systematically limiting your total addressable market. Increase your risk exposure and ensuring that you never achieve longevity profitability reserved for those who arm themselves rather than join the battle. One of my favorite stories about this is a gentleman who was a tailor named Levi. And Levi lived in California. And as the gold rush started, the people who were mining for the gold needed some sort of rough and rugged clothing, specifically pants, that they could go in and mine and get on their knees. And Levi had tent material, which he then used to create a dungaree, a pair of jeans. And this material was indigo dyed and rough. It actually had 2 colors to it. It was blue and a white. And he put heavy stitching in it, and he put rivets in it so that it would not fall apart like other pairs of pants. That was the beginning of one of the great American fashion stories, coming out of a need to have a good pair of pants to go mining. In France, they were putting feathers on hats, and in America, they were putting rivets on tent material to make a piece of workwear that was construction wear. Now, it's a fascinating thing to see that we have exported this workwear all across the world. And in fact, it's actually transitioned. And I've been doing a little fun research on this as a little side quest. And the jeans that we have now are not quite the jeans that they had then. Now, if you go and look, some people will pay tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, even $1 million for a pair of old vintage jeans because they've been broken in. It used to be that you bought a pair of jeans and you bought them big and they would shrink and you would break them in and they would be unique. Fast fashion comes along and they figure out how to make the jeans look like you've worn them for years and only had to pull them off the rack, put holes in them. The whole jean style was about duplicating what seemed to be a very old style. And people would then go and buy old jeans that people had worn for years to break into that level. But the Japanese went a different way. The Japanese went back, and when all of the modern jean manufacturers were going towards higher manufacturing and faster looms and systems that made the jean manufacturers more efficient and less expensive, the Japanese went out and bought up all the old looms, the ones that weren't efficient, that required someone to watch, that got jammed, that did not create a silky smooth piece of cotton, but instead rough hewn and inconsistent. And they then started the Japanese salvage market. So we went from a pair of jeans, a pair of pants that were work pants, into a fashion statement. And after World War II brought that fashion statement to Japan, Japan liked it so much they couldn't get enough of them. And as America changed their wear Japan pulls back and tries the old way, the way that Levi and Strauss would know. And they then created a completely high-end market with wonderful low-end systems. Instead of using chemical dye, they use indigo, one of the things that Japan knows well. Instead of dyeing it once or twice to get the indigo in, they dye it 30 and 40 times. They bought the machines that were made in the 18 and 1900s and shipped them to Japan and reworked them and continue to use them, which are slower, they jam, and cannot produce a wide enough weave for most of the area. They produce an inconsistent weave, but they produce a gene more like what it used to be than the fast fashion of today. And these genes are really not comfortable to begin with. You have to break them in. And you have to make a decision whether you want to have them well and faded, wash them a lot, or characteristic and wash them seldomly. And after 4 or 5 years, you will have a unique gene, something that is made and bonded to you. Now, that appeals to me in so many ways. One way is that this becomes a unique art form, classically American form, which has been taken over and redone in higher quality. The Japanese, when they do this salvage market, obsess over the quality of their genes. Everything must be perfect. And the coloring and the handmade stuff, the intention and the acceptance that it will take time to break them in and it will take time to use them, but they will last. Also, what it says to me, and one of the reasons I went down this deep dive, is it recognizes that you build something well and you build it for a lifetime, and it will take some time to break in. It will take some time to make better. It will take some time, but it becomes uniquely your own. So build quality, become uniquely your own, but also, did the Japanese chase the ability to create cheap cotton and clothing? No. Did Levi Strauss chase the bright, shiny object, literally the gold? No. What he did is he built something to support exactly what was going on. Levi Strauss has been around for 170 years. Every one of those companies that was mining for gold is no longer here. Well, it has changed and morphed and created like all businesses do. But the fundamental thing here is they made money supporting the people who are trying to make the money. Right now, if you look at it, we have a major shift where Nvidia, who made video chips, is now outperforming the market of people who made computer chips. That is a classic example of how we should be supporting the people who are trying to make the new things, opposed to making the new things. AI will come out and it will be what it will be. The gold rush came and went, but Levi still stands. We will always need more graphic chips. We'll always need more computer chips. We may not always need the AI that exists right now. So taking a look at genes teaches us 3 major lessons. 1, that you build something to support, opposed to chasing the fad of the day, the gold rush of the day. 2nd, you create something of value that can be used over and over again, and you obsess about that quality. Even when fast fashion, fast ideas, the faster way of doing it, the latest trick comes in. And thirdly, you go to fundamentals and you continue to keep those fundamentals, even if it's a niche market, even if it's a small percentage. That becomes something that people understand and can become uniquely their own. If you want to look at a fascinating tribe, look at the jeans market tribe. Individuals who have their own lexicon, have their own ideas, have their own arguments about quality and what it is in a quintessentially American fashion of work, but perfected by small companies in Japan. In this time of change and ideas, not knowing where we are going to go or how it is going to be, it is important to look back and learn from our history. Build things of high quality. Build things to support others so that they can do their work. And build it so not only can it last, but it can become uniquely their own. Those three rules will last for years and decades, no matter what the systems and the new bright, shiny objects are. There will always be the next gold rush or the AI rush, but the boring companies are the ones that will last for generations and become icons, not only in their industry, but possibly in the iconography of a country. If you have another example of something like Levi's jeans or know another story, put it in the comments below. Let's continue this conversation. I look forward to talking to you soon.
Thanks for tuning into today's episode on the Strategy Session, where we take your business from stuck to unstoppable. Here's another video I think you'd enjoy. If you found these insights valuable, remember to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring the bell for notifications on our latest videos. Remember, you're not just marketing, you're making history with Venture Gained.